So we both like talking about cameras. We like discussing gear. Even though everybody says gear doesn't matter, I think to some extent, to a certain extent, it actually creates a difference. But I think what really gives a bigger difference is knowing how to use your gear. Like it doesn't matter what camera you have or what lens do you have. Knowing how to use them is very, very important. And so I think, yeah, so today we're going to talk about cameras, and I think we have divided them into four categories, and we're going to talk about what we think is what's the best category, what's the best camera for each category, according to our opinion, of course.
Exactly.
And yeah, we're going to discuss that. So the first category that we want to discuss is best budget cinema camera.
Best
So
budget cinema camera.
I don't know, what's your choice for that, Kai? What was your choice?
Oh, should I go first? Okay, let me go first.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
hey, by the way, we have to let other people know that we haven't talked about this in advance. So we actually don't know what each other is going to say, right? I mean, we might have the same camera in mind.
Yeah, that's
so
gonna be interesting.
in my opinion, I think the best budget cinema camera, like literally best budget cinema camera for anyone who doesn't have money, is the Zcam E2C. So
Okay.
for those who don't know about the Zcam E2C, the Zcam E2C is the lowest end of the whole Zcam line, and the strongest characteristic of this whole line is that their camera is crazy cheap, but they can do what most cinema camera can do. This camera cost $800, okay, but it can shoot 12-bit ProRes RAW with the external recorder, the Ninja V5, for example, and it can shoot 4K 30p with 10-bit color. It has a micro four third sensor, and it basically do what most cinema camera do, and is actually really small. It looks like the shape of a red Komodo, I believe, or even smaller. And they have all kinds of other camera, and it can shoot all the way. They can shoot all the way up to 8K, and the price is still relatively really cheap compared to other cinema cameras. So this is my choice, the Zcam E2C 4K. Check it out.
The Zcam E2C. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So how much
Okay.
does
What
it
about
cost? Is it $800?
$800.
Holy smoke, dude. Okay. I was gonna say
man.
that. So okay, my choice goes for the Blackmagic, right? Blackmagic 6K Pro. But I mean, with the specs that you've said, it shoots 12-bit RAW.
ProRes RAW. But you need the
no
external
way.
recorder
Okay.
though. Yeah. But obviously the color science is something to debate about though. Like maybe obviously the Blackmagic color is way better, but if you just like you're like a poor filmmaker and you really need a cinema camera, then I think the Zcam E2C will be a good choice.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I mean, I think it comes down to the price, because the specs that you mentioned of the Zcam seem to be very similar to the Blackmagic. Obviously, other than some details and minor stuff. But I would like, my choice was gonna be the Blackmagic 6K Pro. I mean, this camera is insane. I mean, that 12-bit RAW. I'm a big fan of Blackmagic.
Yeah, man,
So
me too.
that 12-bit RAW, the newly updated screen, the tilted screen, and it's just an overall really amazing camera. To be honest, I'm really tired of shooting in compressed codecs.
Yeah.
And so I really like the Blackmagic, because obviously you can shoot RAW and you have so much flexibility in post.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
the thing is, when the footage of the Blackmagic camera is insanely easy to edit. Like if you want to talk about the user experience, I would say that Blackmagic beat the Zcam easily. But if we talk about price, obviously Zcam wins. The Blackmagic whole user interface is so easy to use. It has a big screen. The touch, like the first time I got it, I already knew how to use it. That's how easy it is.
Yeah.
And the files are so small. The raw files is so small and so easy to use. So I think in terms of the whole experience, the Blackmagic just wins all the way.
Yes. 100%, because also like not just, yes, like usability, and also the time it takes it to fire up the time it takes to fire up the Blackmagic is way quicker than the time it takes to fire up the Zcam, for instance, because I'm pretty sure it's a cinema camera, and cinema cameras take a bit of time to start, and so all of that like workflow and all of that all of that usable, like what's it called, convenience, I think
Yeah,
makes
the
a difference.
usability.
I'm really wondering, yes, I'm really wondering if you would rig up the Zcam, how much would the price go up, and if it would still be if the price would still be lower than the Blackmagic, then that sounds like a fantastic option. But again, the Blackmagic, I guess when you rig up the Zcam, it would still be, the body of the camera would still be bigger than the Blackmagic, right?
That's actually a lot of like, that's really the talking point of, whenever people trying to compare, they say, yeah, you have to build up the
Portability,
Zcam.
right.
Yeah, because Zcam apparently, as far as I
Yes.
remember, it doesn't have a screen. It does, but it's like a very small 1-inch screen at
Yes.
the corner.
I
So
think
the
I've seen
Blackmagic
it,
just
yeah,
comes
yeah,
with the big screen.
yeah.
So I think, it depends on how you want it. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's also the C70 and the Komodo, which come as a second, I would say, like as a second, as a sub best budget cinema cameras, right? These are
Yeah.
really good, but they're also, their prices like you're
Komodo
starting
is like
from
$6,000 as
5K,
far as I remember.
6K, yeah, it's really expensive compared to Blackmagic, I guess.
That's not a budget cinema camera anymore. I think
Yes, I guess so.
like, if you really want to categorize that, I mean, it's hard to categorize it. Like, I would, if you want to, if I need to go more expensive than Blackmagic, I would go for the A7S3. Although it's not really a cinema camera, but for
Okay.
me, if I need to shoot a film
Yes.
and I have more budget, I would go for the A7S3.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a
Yeah,
cinema camera.
fair enough. Yeah, I guess in today's terminology, they're not budget anymore. But back in the day, compared to the real cinema cameras like the Ari and the big red, then they are kind of considered cinema cameras, right? Budget, they're kind of budgety. Yeah. Okay,
But
so
I mean, it's so
I'm
weird
gonna.
because people complain, oh, this is like so. Oh, sorry. So people always say that it's like, oh, this
Yeah.
is so expensive. How could this be a budget camera? But the thing is, you have to think about what field are you talking about. It's like I want to buy a spaceship, and spaceships are so expensive, and then like even the cheapest
Yes.
spaceship you cannot afford it. And for like cameras are expensive. That's the price range you get. You
Yes.
cannot get cheaper than that. So if we're talking about budget,
Especially cinema cameras,
I think $800 is really cheap.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
You're shooting films. You're shooting feature film you're putting it on a big screen. I mean, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go to the next category.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that. So best street photography camera, and I think there are two
street
cameras that really come into my mind. The first one is the Ricoh GR, which is I think APS-C cropped APS-C sensor. It's very, very, very lightweight. It's like the size of a phone, and you can put it in your pocket and move very quickly.
Oh yeah, it's a
can't-
point
it
and
doesn't
shoot,
it
right?
doesn't. Yes, yeah. It's a point and shoot, and it doesn't attract a lot of attention when you are on the street. So that's a very, very big advantage for street photography. The second camera that I would go for is the A7 III, sorry, with a pancake lens. So if you have a A7 III and you have a pancake lens, I think that would be a very, very good combination for street photography. Something like a Samyang 35mm 2.8. I think like these two cameras would be a very, very good choice for street photography, in my opinion.
Oh man, I think you brought out a really good point. Like, the cameras shouldn't like attract too much attention since you're doing street photography.
Yeah.
Right. So my choice is one of it is the camera that I'm using right now, which is the Sony A6600. It's an APS-C sensor as well. It's really small, and I'm gonna compare it with another camera, which is the Sony A7C. So A7C and the A60 6600 has almost the same body size, almost. But the A7C is slightly bigger, but it is full frame. So the A7C is full frame, A6600 is APS-C. And so depending on which sensor you want, the price is different. So the 6600 is $1,400, and the A7C is $1,800, but you get full frame. And I think for street photography, full frame is a really good advantage. So
sure.
yeah, it depends on. I like small cameras because I think street photography, you really need a small camera because you're just going everywhere. I wouldn't want to use like those 5D Mark II, those big DSLRs. I don't think that would be it.
Oh, 100%. And also, it's kind of actually like my choice because I chose the A7 III, and the A7C is kind of a little brother for the A7 III. They are almost exactly the same.
Yeah, it's basically the A7 III.
For minor differences.
Yeah, it's basically the same.
It's kind of the same, yeah.
I actually know a lot of people who sold their... Oh, sorry, man. The internet. You go on, man. Go on.
Go ahead.
So I do know some of my friends who sold their A7 III just to get the A7C. Like for them, it's the exact same thing, but it's just smaller. So I think that's very interesting why you brought up.
I think the only difference is that I looked it up. The only difference is that the A7C has a what's it called? The screen can tilt backwards and forwards, so you can see yourself. And I think the A7C has less shutter speed, so it goes up to 4K, while in the A7 III you can shoot until the shutter speed can be jacked up to 8,000. I think that's another difference.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. The A7C has a better battery life as well. It can shoot about up to 700 shots, while the A7 III can shoot up to 600 shots. So yeah, very minor differences. It's kind of give and take. They didn't want to create two very similar cameras, so they created some differences in both cameras, which is an interesting thing actually. Yeah, what's your best value for the price camera,
all right,
guy?
Okay, man. This actually is a camera that we mentioned earlier, and I truly believe this is a camera that the price of it and the value is way above the price. Speaking from personal experience, I truly believe that, which is the Blackmagic BMP-CC.
Yeah,
6K. Okay, I'm not talking about the 6K 100%. Pro because I haven't used the 6K Pro, but the 6K I've been using it for more than 2 years, for almost I'd say 80%, more than 80% of all of the commercial shoot that I did is with the BMP-CC 6K, and I think that camera brings amazing value. Really, anyone who has the budget, just get it, because I think people complain about certain things about this camera, like you cannot have the tilt screen, and most of them are fixed in the new 6K Pro. So, but with me, I use it with all of those defects, but I still love it. I think everything about this camera is one thing they complain is that it's too wide. The body is big. There's no tilt screen. It's made of plastic. But I think these are the things that I would rather sacrifice for what this camera can do. Yes, so they didn't sacrifice the important things. They sacrificed something that is, I can deal with it. So I think they really listen to their customers. So I think this is the most valuable camera right now with this price. So yeah.
I 100% agree. I think the Blackmagic is the best value for the price camera that you can get. I still think it's the best camera for video. Obviously, if you want to take photos, then maybe you would go for something else. If you want to take photos, you would go for something like the A7 III. I think it's the best value for price camera, or A7C, because these are both they combine both video and photo. And I feel like we're mentioning a lot of Sony, but also I think the Canon R series is also good, but I guess that's for later, for the next
Yeah.
category. But like best value for the price camera, yeah, I would say the Blackmagic, like is absolutely insane. It just broke the market. I mean, to be honest, I really don't care if the camera is made up of plastic or metal. If it gives me good footage, I mean, I still think that other camera companies are left slacking behind, because Blackmagic, with that price point, you can shoot 12-bit raw. I mean, other camera companies are just coming up with cameras right now that can shoot 10-bit. Well, Blackmagic cameras already shoot 12-bit uncompressed footage, right?
Yeah, and
to me,
the
that's
codec is
insane.
amazing. The codec
Yes.
is amazing. You know, not only the production is good, the post production is so good
Yes,
also. Like
yes,
you can use
yes.
their
The
program,
whole-
DaVinci Resolve.
Yes.
So it's just like
100%.
amazing.
The whole workflow is just absolutely crazy, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what other camera companies are thinking while they're looking at the Blackmagic. Like, they're absolutely.
By the way, I need to mention that
Yeah.
like I might sound like a Sony and Blackmagic fanboy, you know, throughout this whole podcast, but I'm gonna say that I actually used Canon cameras. My first camera was a Nikon, so I used camera from other companies as well. I used the Fujifilm as well, but for me personally, there are just something that is missing in a lot of these camera companies. And for Canon, I think we can talk about it later. But there are something I want to talk about, the Canon R5, which is, you know, a pretty popular camera since last year.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
let's move on to the next category, and we can
Yes,
we can talk
the
about
next category, of course, is the best camera that does photo and video, and it's obviously the R5, I think, right? The R5 to me is the best camera that shoots photo and video, shoots up to 8K. Obviously, it had some problems with overheating and all of that, but I think it's the only camera that is kind of similar to the A7S III, and at the same time has it's, I think, 45 megapixels, which is and also really good for photos. So to me, I mean, it's the best camera that can shoot that. Or I think the Alpha one, the A1, that camera is crazy as well. But I think the A1 is on another category, on another level, if you would like to call it that way.
For the camera that I personally used, I was actually gonna choose two camera, which is the Sony A7 III and the Canon R5.
Okay.
But so I kind of there's like a love and hate relationship between me and Canon R5, is because Canon, they were pushing this agenda saying that the Canon R5 is amazing at 8K RAW and stuff, and then they keep talking about the video side of this camera, but then when the video side of it is very messed up, when, you know, they have the overheating, the file size is so big that I was using like a jacked up PC, and I couldn't even edit the R5 footage. I don't know if it has to do with my computer, but I did saw a lot of people having issue with their file size. So like, and then later on Canon says that, the R5 is mainly a photo camera. It's for photo, right? The video is just like a extra, but they were pushing the features of the video so much that I thought that the R5 was meant for filmmakers. But so the R5, I have to say, it's mainly focused on photos. I took a lot of photos with the R5. It's beautiful, and then the video is just like an extra. So if we're talking about like all around good, so both the video is as good as the photo, I would say is the A7 III from my experience. I haven't used other mirrorless camera, but I think the A7 III
I would want to say
the photo and video is as good as each other. Yeah.
I would want to say the A7 III is a really good option, but to be honest, I'm kind of tired of 8-bit, right? And the A7 III shoots
you're right
8-bit.
You're right.
Yeah, that's why I kind of went with the R5, because
but you have to
honestly,
think
bro,
about the post production though. You have to think about the post production, because if you shoot videos with the R5 but you cannot even edit the footage, then what's the point then?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it depends on what kind of computer you're having, so
100%,
it's just like a whole nother debate. But
Yeah.
R5 is a really good camera. I hope that the R3 was coming out, by the way. I think, did you hear about the R3?
Yeah, I heard.
Well,
Let's see
hope that they
though how
fixed.
it's gonna turn out. Yeah, hopefully they fix
Yeah.
the issues with the R5. Yeah, but to be
Okay.
honest, yeah.
To be honest, what was it?
I was gonna say like Sony in terms of features is so like right now is doing better than other companies, and Blackmagic for video is also killing it as well, as a cinema camera, as a
Don't you feel
small
like
cinema
these
camera
are like the
only.
two companies that really listen to their consumers, their
Yes,
customers,
100%.
right? Everything that they give is I feel like, oh, that's what we've been asking for so long, and is this exactly the way it should be? Whereas
yeah.
some other companies, they're just putting out stuff like because they want it to be like that.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you think about 8K? Do you think 8K is really necessary for cameras? Or
Honestly, I don't think it's necessary so far because we don't have the technology to operate that. Like, do you watch videos in 8K? Like, I watch videos in 4K, right? But I'm pretty sure that number of people who watch videos in 8K are is very little, and so I don't think we are ready for that. And so I think focusing more on what we have now, improving the 4K capabilities rather than pushing more res that we don't actually need, or nobody's gonna be using it. Like think about it. Like even if you have the R5, like how many people are gonna be shooting in 8K, right? Like think about the storage that you
and the
that
usability.
that
Why
footage
would
is
you
gonna
need
take.
8K,
Yes,
right?
100%. Yeah.
Like I'd
Yeah.
rather
Who's gonna
they
be able to edit that?
exchange for like I don't know 4K 240p and 12-bit video.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
they work
yeah.
on more on like the quality of the video and still remain 4K, I choose that over 8K and
Yeah, like give me, yeah, exactly. Like give me a better color science, give me more bitrate that I'm gonna be able to use to better color grade my footage, instead of giving me 8K that I'm not gonna be able to edit or even post or upload or move around or work with, so far, you know.